JesseDailyMail.com has exclusively uncovered photos of one of Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu's main challengers, former Prime Minister Ehud Barak, covering his face as he entered the convicted pedophile's home. This was back in 2016, and on the same day, a group of young women were also seen arriving at Epstein's home.
Coincidence, man.
The list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? But yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
I'm Frank Vaughn. It's July 13th, 2025, a Sunday. And as subscribers leave and subscribers return, we are separating the wolves, the leaders of the pack, the people who can think, from the sheep. Because what Donald Trump has done in covering up not just the Epstein list, shutting down the Epstein investigation, and gaslighting MAGA into this idea that it is a far-left conspiracy theory while he has pushed it for years, that this is some kind of recent development. I've known about Epstein for 20 years at a minimum. My father was still alive. I remember reading about this and trying to talk to my dad about it. It kind of went over his head. Not that I blame him for that. These were pretty arcane things back then. But now we're being gaslit by Donald Trump himself. And this isn't the only thing that's gone off the rails. Now on screen is a bizarre piece of art that is on display at Mar-a-Lago. Ostensibly, this was gifted to Donald Trump in the name of an organization that was trying to end child exploitation around the world. But I'm telling you, folks, I just found out about this the other day. I didn't know this existed. Those are $100 bills with Donald Trump's face plastered all over them. It's a goat with golden horns standing on top of the Black Rock. Now, I have gone through an exhaustive process of the benefit of the doubt to this point. But now that we're being officially gaslit by the president, and he's telling us that Epstein and all things related to Epstein are a far-left Democrat conspiracy, naming the very people who he himself said were guilty of crimes with Epstein as those who created what he now calls the lie of Epstein, the Epstein client list, and everything Epstein. This is an inversion of truth so clear there's no alternative anymore. The scales have been removed from my eyes. There's no benefit of the doubt. Doubt has been put to sleep. Where to even begin on this subject at this point? The Epstein files. This is from January 6th of 2024. Full list of high-profile names released in unsealed documents. The list of around 150 people. Here are those names. We know this stuff already. The very things that the FBI and the Justice Department and the president say do not exist, we know exist, and we've known for a long time. Maxwell, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, David Copperfield, John Connolly, Alan Dershowitz. Now, some of these names, in one way Trump is right, some of these names are merely associated with Epstein. Doesn't mean that they were part of the blackmail ring. The excuse that Trump is offering is that these innocents need to be protected. And because they need to be protected, the victims and those who made those victims by purchasing their services while they were minors can still walk free and no justice will ever be served because he needs to protect those who are innocent. It doesn't hold muster because the FBI and the Justice Department could sort those things out before they tell us the truth. Instead, and this is the key, they're trying to bury the whole thing and stop any investigation. And that's reprehensible. If you still support it, if you're making excuses for Donald Trump today, you're making excuses for child sex trafficking. You really should look in the mirror, give your head a shake, and re-examine yourself. And if you're still convicted in that position, well, at least you know you have no valid moral compass whatsoever. Disgusting. Al Gore, Stephen Hawking, Ehud Barak, as we just seen in the clip. One of the names on this list is Noam Chomsky. And this is kind of news to me, and it's interesting, and I just want to provide an anecdote. Years ago, before I started making videos and before I was politically active in a public way, Noam Chomsky and I used to correspond when he was a professor at MIT. We emailed back and forth, talked about various things. Now, 9/11 had happened, and I had wondered why. Noam Chomsky never took a position as to how 3 buildings could have collapsed in on themselves when only 2 planes hit them. Building 7, just like Donald Trump denying and gaslighting us about Epstein, Building 7 is one of those red flag proofs that you're not being told the full story. It's right there staring you in the face. And if you can pretzel logic your way around to believing that that happened naturally or organically, I don't know what to tell you. You're just not on the right side of critical thinking and rational thought. And this is what I communicated to Noam Chomsky. I asked him, Professor Chomsky, why have you never taken a public position vis-a-vis 9/11? Why haven't you supported a thorough investigation, not that whitewashing called the 9/11 Commission, but something actually real and tangible, as members of Congress were calling for, and thousands of engineers and firefighters from New York who reported anomalies and heard all kinds of things that day? I said, why aren't you lending your voice to the fray? And Noam's reply to me, I still have the emails. I won't release them because I don't release private communications. I rarely talk about private communications, but in this case, I'm doing it anyway. Noam's reply to me was, I do not have the necessary expertise to have an opinion on what happened on 9/11. It's not my relevant field, and I'm not an expert. And I said to him in response, I said, Professor Chomsky, you're a linguist by trade. Your field is linguistics. And yet you talk about Vietnam and Guatemala, labor rights, politics, a diverse range of subjects that are far outside the scope of your academic training. So why then, given that, do you feel the excuse that you're not trained to talk about 9/11 is a valid excuse? That was the end of our correspondence. I think the story speaks for itself. This is an article up on Zero Hedge. Trump calls Epstein list a Democrat psyop, tells MAGA not to waste time and energy. And there are a good number of lemmings out there who are now immediately switching and flipping their script and repeating this line as though the last 8 years, as though the last 20 years didn't happen. I can't join you. If you people don't want to watch my channel anymore, well, that breaks my heart. You'll either come back when you wake up, or you'll cling to your morally broken compass. Less than 1 year ago, then candidate Donald Trump vowed to release the Epstein files. We have already seen the video clip. And again, benefit of the doubt. You're at a public gathering. There's pictures taken. There's video taken. Everybody poses for pictures with everybody. I don't believe in this idea that, for instance, you see these pictures of various people being pictured with Pierre Poilievre in a handshake line as if it means something. It doesn't mean anything. It's a handshake line. And you can't filter everybody out. So there's a big benefit of the doubt there, which now is removed because of subsequent actions. The administration is desperate to cover this thing up and make it go away. It's not a Democrat psyop. It's a core feature of MAGA. It's a core promise. It's a core interest of the people and the energy that actually supported Donald Trump. He says 1 year ago our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're going to return to that for a minute once we finish up here. Carlson says, Trump, I'll release the Epstein files because Americans care. America, yes, we do. Yay, Bondi. Wait until you see what we've got on Epstein. America, yay, we care about Epstein. It's a bipartisan issue, folks. One of the rare ones that cuts across political divide. Bondi releases nothing useful. America's, what are you doing? Trump, why do you care about Epstein? And then proceeds to gaslight us. Elon Musk, to his credit, this is a very big deal. What the hell kind of system are we living in if thousands of kids were abused and the government has videos of the abusers, yet none of the abusers are facing charges? And that's all you need to know. And if you support that, there's something wrong with you. There's no need to identify the victims. That's what the FBI is for. That's what the Department of Justice's job is, to figure out who the abusers are and protect victims. The story doesn't add up. And it's time for critical thought to take the reins. Autism Capital says this is an interesting moment for the Trump administration right now, since it's the first time they're experiencing the same MAGA energy that has helped them get to where they are being temporarily turned against them. It shouldn't be temporary. Nothing should be temporary about this. This is the dying of the light. Whoa, President Trump just got ratioed on his own platform after making that post. That's right, Donald Trump got banned from Twitter, and he went on to found Truth Social. It's his sounding board. He's been reluctant to let it go, even with Elon Musk buying X. Truth is still his primary outlet for communication. And he got ratioed. Why did he get ratioed? Because the vast majority of MAGA is calling bullshit on this. And those who aren't should give their heads a shake. Tucker Carlson just said the quiet part out loud. Epstein was likely working on a blackmail operation for Israel. Back at the beginning of this video, we saw Ehud Barak, during a hotly contested election, getting caught in the honeypot. Who benefited from that? None other than Netanyahu, who was in Washington for a week just recently. Netanyahu, who drew the Americans into bombing Iran. Netanyahu, who is conducting wars on multiple fronts. Netanyahu, who's building a concentration camp in Gaza for 2 million Palestinians. Netanyahu. There was the U-turn on Ukraine. America is now going to send all kinds of arms. Trump said they were mainly defensive weapons. He lied, as he's lied about numerous things. We have the U-turn on Epstein. There's far more to it than that. And meanwhile, I just want you guys to see. IDF soldiers say grenade drones being used on civilians. None of them are armed. The Israeli Defense Forces are routinely killing civilians in Gaza with commercial drones modified to drop grenades on them, often leaving corpses to be eaten by dogs. According to interviews with 7 soldiers and officers conducted by Israeli investigative journalists. So this is Israeli journalists interviewing Israeli military members who are trying to blow the whistle. The same Israeli military members that I highlighted the other day who are saying that as Palestinians are rolling up to collect aid, Israeli troops are opening fire and mowing them down with live rounds, even though they are not armed. And we have complete video of this right here. Unarmed civilians probably running for their lives. And you're about to see the grenade fall. And that one's dead. But they're just Palestinians, so who cares? And again, I just want to remind you, these are Jewish soldiers being interviewed by Jewish media, trying to blow the whistle on what's happening, as if we really need more information. There was a boy who entered the off-limits zone. He didn't do anything. Other soldiers claimed to have seen him standing and talking to people. That's it. They dropped a grenade from a drone. In most cases, there was nothing you could tell yourself. There was no way to complete the sentence. We killed them because whatever. Once a commander defines an imaginary red line that no one is allowed to cross, anyone who does is marked for death. You send a drone up 200 meters high, and you can see there are 3 to 4 kilometers in every direction. You patrol like that. You see someone approaching, the first one gets hit with a grenade, and after that, the word spreads. 1 or 2 more come, and they die. The rest understand. Tucker Carlson gave a great speech at Turning Point USA, where he highlighted the fact that there's nothing inherently anti-Semitic at all about criticizing Israel or the IDF or American policy towards Israel. I have a number of Jewish friends. I think they're great people. I draw the line at blanket statements about the entirety. Every single person who's a Jew is somehow irredeemable. I don't believe that. I'll never believe that. But I think the Israeli government and its actions are starting to speak very loudly. And there's nothing wrong with hauling it out, especially in light of the fact that the president might be covering up a Mossad CIA honeypot to protect his friends, to protect himself, and to protect clandestine operations that have no moral basis, in fact, that involve the selling of children into sexual slavery. I just don't know how people can sit on their hands and make excuses for it, and that's why you're seeing things like
We're not going to
this.
play with these anymore. MAGA hats are off. America First hats are.
I'm not one for signals like this. I've never been one for burning hats and filming it and whatever. You do you. I'm not judging anybody, but this is 100% symbolic of what is happening in the MAGA community. And honestly, it should continue because Trump took a bullet to protect Jeffrey Epstein's clients. That's the Libertarian Party in New Hampshire. We should have known there was a problem when punchy one-liner Trump turned into boomer text wall Trump. It's bad, folks. It's bad, and it's not the only thing. Do you guys remember? Hold on. Remember the drones? There's a lot of drones authorized up there. Biden sends radar systems and tries to calm fears. Trump was supposed to get us answers on this file. Never happened. He was supposed to do legislation that lowered grocery prices. Hasn't happened yet. Legislation that would make housing more affordable hasn't advanced in Congress yet. Cut federal spending by $2 trillion. Big talking point. Set up Doge. Did all those things. Now that's gone. The federal deficit will increase. And the federal debt will go up by $5 trillion at a minimum. They're talking about if the books stay the way they are under the Trump administration, it'll add $11 trillion to the national debt in under a decade with all those interest payments that could be going to programs. Rebuilding infrastructure, something Trump used to talk about. Rebuilding America. Off the radar. Remember taxes on tips? Supposed to be done. The House Budget Committee estimates a cost of $100 billion over a decade, and it is requiring congressional action, and no legislation has been passed to include it. Cap credit card interest rates at 10%, no legislation. Lower car insurance rates, make home generator purchases tax deductible, reduce energy costs through increased drilling. Increased drilling. Let's see, how's that going? Drilling plummets under Trump despite drill, baby drill promise. A slump in active oil and gas rigs across the United States has undercut Donald Trump's rallying cry, drill, baby drill, raising economic and political stakes for his administration. What's going on, folks? What's happening? Reverse the SALT deduction cap. No action has been taken. Largest deportation program in U.S. history. I highlighted in a previous video how arrests are up, but deportations are down. You might want to ask what's going on with that. I mean, I don't know. Trump pledged to ban all sanctuary cities through legislation. No bill has been passed by Congress. And executive actions alone cannot force this. So we have a lot of signaling, but we don't have a lot of action on behalf of the Republican Party, which Trump is ostensibly the head of. What is happening with Republicans in Congress? Struggling to pass the big, beautiful bill, which wasn't beautiful at all. It was terrible if you're an actual advocate for the core principles of MAGA. Now, I'm not the one who said it. I said during the campaign that it was likely he was going to miss on it, but he did say that he would end the Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours. Now he's sending arms. He said he would end the war in Gaza. Gaza's been leveled, and now they're building a massive concentration camp, with the defense minister himself of Israel announcing plans to take all Palestinians in Gaza and round them up into one city, bulldoze the rest of it, and settle it with Israelis. That's what's happening. I'm just telling you what's happening. Abolishing the Department of Education, stymied. Eliminate the deep state. Seems like Trump is the deep state, as I said yesterday. Defending Epstein, defending the status quo, taking positions that the neocons love. What do you want? What do you want? Hold China financially responsible to COVID. Seems like he's more concerned about getting a trade deal done, maybe interrupting the fentanyl supply, but keeping business moving as usual. Stopping China from buying U.S. land. No policy or executive action has been reported to restrict Chinese land purchases, which totaled 383,000 acres as of 2021 alone. Now, what happened in 2020? We had a different president. Do you think that accelerated or do you think that declined? I mean, replacing Obamacare with a better, less expensive plan, lowering prescription drug prices, they've continued to rise. There's no progress on Medicare negotiations, releasing the Epstein files, inventories, Fort Knox. I mean, you can just keep going. And if you actually think critically, you should understand something's not right. And we also can't forget the fact that that potato video that we got, video footage released by the Department of Justice from inside Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, taken the night before authorities say Jeffrey Epstein killed himself, was likely assembled from at least 2 source clips, modified prior to its release. So we know that it was edited in Premiere Pro. Like, the metadata is very clear. We did not get the raw footage. And even if it was raw footage, it's so granular. Like I said, it's like it's been filmed on a potato. It's probably not artificially generated. It's probably not AI, but it could be. With something so granular, you could fake anything you want. But it gave us nothing. There's footage missing. You can't trust this blindly. You shouldn't be putting faith in this. You shouldn't be mixing and commingling your religious beliefs with the office of the presidency and any man who occupies it. I want to also remind people that it's not just Ghislaine Maxwell, who's already in jail for the things that the FBI and Justice Department are now saying don't exist. Jean-Luc Brunel, a French modeling agent and close associate of Epstein, was arrested in December of 2020 by French authorities for rape and sexual assault of minors under and over 15, as well as criminal association with Epstein's pedo network. He was accused of supplying underage girl to Epstein and abusing them himself. Again, Epstein was a billionaire. Where'd he get all his money? We know, we're being gaslit. We've known for a long time. Alfredo Rodriguez, Epstein's former house manager in Palm Beach, was convicted in 2010 for obstructing justice after attempting to sell Epstein's black book of contacts to an undercover FBI agent for $50,000. These are people who are in jail. They're in jail now, convicted of the things that the Trump administration is trying to bury and gaslight Americans into thinking don't exist. We're being lied to. And you can do the pretzel logic. You can come up with any excuse you want. Maybe we'll go through a couple excuses right now. First one at the top, Mauro Prozia. Frank, I disagree. PSYOP in motion. Who unleashed the PSYOP then? Why did Trump say one thing for 8 years and now he's saying something completely different? There's no PSYOP here, folks. There's a cover-up. Stop making excuses. It's just ridiculous. And the Epstein PSYOP lands, and the best of you fell for it. And I said, and the dumbest take ever goes to you. Let's read his response. I haven't even read it yet. Nope, not at all, Frank. The Biden, Obama, and Trump admins have all had access to the list. The list is not what you think it is. I have been consistent for years about the fact that it is not going to be what people think it is. A bunch of rich old people flying to an island to party with people half their age. They have institutes in the U.S. devoted to spinning how much of a criminal's real crimes, and there's no way that a massive blackmail operation is ever going to be released. That's how a math teacher became a billionaire, right? Like, you people, you'll just spin excuses. One of the ones, and we might actually find it on here. I know I've responded to this. There it is. Think about it, Frank. If Trump was on the list and was compromised, the Democrats had ample time to exploit this evidence and use it against him. Not if the Democrats were on that list too. I think Democrat-Republican is the wrong way to look at this. I think the power elites that fund your politicians, and I think your politicians themselves, of all political stripes, are implicated and compromised in this. And the reason they didn't use it on Trump is maybe as simple as Trump not actually being guilty of anything, because we don't know. We don't know. We know he was associated. We know he had a decade-and-a-half-long friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, which he publicly owned. We don't know what went on. We do have him on video talking about how he would be dating girls that weren't of age in 10 years. So we seem to know that Donald Trump likes women, not children. But we don't know. We don't know. But they wouldn't exploit something that would damage them and their donors at the same time. That alone explains why that talking point is invalid. Another individual says, no, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exclamation marks. Something bigger is happening. This is desperation. I said, denial is not just a river in Egypt. Time will tell. We've had enough time. This is another thing. Allow time. I've heard this over and over again. We need more time, Frank. How much time do you need? It's been 20 years by my count. It's been 8 years plus with Trump. How much more time? Why are you clinging to fantasy? Why are you just saying something is up and dismissing the evidence of your eyes? It's right there in front of your face. Art of war, relax. All caps with periods spaced randomly. I'll let Lero speak for me. Art of screwing over the gullible idiots? Pretty much. I mean, at this point, I don't know what you're doing if you can't see it. Yes, there is a list. I saw it. Trump is more interested in saving lives than throwing the truth that could be fatal. You've never been so wrong, Frank. Carney is the deep state and EU. Even you, Frank, is not ready for the truth. The truth is Trump helped Carney get elected. He endorsed him. The entire podcast circuit that is up Trump's backside in the United States worked overtime to torpedo Poilievre. He didn't do himself any favors. I'm not making excuses for him, and I am not elevating him as a hero. I've seen some of his statements while he's running for by-election in Alberta. They are not inspiring. But for whatever reason, they still felt it necessary to get involved in our election on Carney's behalf. And I didn't hear Carney protesting. I didn't hear any talk about foreign interference when it helped him. When China was spending money here in Canada, promoting Mark Carney to office, Moose on the Loose, many others, myself included, have talked about the fact that Carney has extensive business dealings with Trump, Trump associates, and Trump's family. Are we all conspiracy theorists? One of the first things that Carney did was fly down there, and they were glad-handing each other, and everything was hunky-dory. Is there a chance that maybe all of this conflict is just optics, and Mark Carney's here to parse Canada out between China, the United States, and the EU? Now, I've said before, if I'm given a choice between those three fates, I'm choosing America all day, every day, because I like the Constitution. The Constitution's separate from Trump. And every video I've made, I've been comparing what it would be like to be a state and how much freer I would be as a citizen of the United States and the rights that I would have compared to this pathetic federation that we have. I'd much prefer independence for Saskatchewan and Alberta and to go our separate ways, but I'm not sure we're going to be allowed to do that. I mean, look around. This ominous thing, this cloud that comes from this Epstein file also clouds what might happen to Saskatchewan and Alberta should we try to get out. I think the CIA would get involved pretty quick, and we've seen what they are capable of. Even you, Frank, are not ready for the truth. If Carney's the deep state and Trump helped him, what's that make Trump? You're clinging to hope, folks. You're clinging to hope. Sheriff of YouTube says, don't die of TDS. Trump has done more for Canadian-born Canadians in 6 months than the socialists in charge of Canada since I've been alive. And here we have the clincher. Sit back and watch him crush socialists and freeloaders worldwide. I've been told that too. Sit back, enjoy the show. It's a movie. It's all a plan. Look up Operation Trust. Understand this has been done before. All these idiots who are still quoting Q in 2025. You're so desperate for hope. You don't care if it's false hope. You're not telling yourselves the truth. If you actually care about MAGA, you actually care about the things that were promised, you should be speaking out. Because the more noise you make, if there's any semblance of those things, those values, alive in Donald Trump, you'll awaken them. Because if you make him angry enough, he can't help himself. He has to respond. I just said Trump hasn't done squat compared to the game he talked on the campaign trail. And honestly, at this point, burying your head in the sand is the only way forward to maintain your false hope. Now you help him cover for child sex traffickers. You must be so proud. That's what it is. It's covering for child sex trafficking to the world's rich and powerful. That's what Trump is doing. There's no other way to spin it. It's incredible. It's incredible. Stop blackpilling. The DS is Israel and their supporters. You mean like Trump? It's over and over and over again. I disagree, says Vernice. There's more going on here than we know. Maybe the investigation is ongoing. No. They're saying they're killing it. There's nothing to look at. Like, how do you people come up with this stuff? It's like you can't hear Trump's words. It's like you can't hear the words of his officials. It's like you can't see what's happening. You're making up stories because you need a narrative. I don't need a narrative. My hope is not of this planet. My hope is not of Earth. I have human investments. I got a lot of love down here. But I'm not putting my faith in politicians. We do know Maxwell had a list that is closed up in the Southern District of New York Police Holdings. Judge has them. Also trying to flush people out. Don't forget all the great things Trump is accomplishing in a few short months. Can you name some of those things? Can you realize that in amongst those accomplishments, even on some of the best files, there's huge problems like the high arrest rate, but few deportations? Drill, baby, drill, but there's no drilling? I don't know. See, I like to go a little deeper. So your only hope, this is my response, is that Trump is lying through his teeth while gaslighting all of us. Because that's another thing. Trump is just telling us a story. What's actually happening is hidden. And so we should just go along with the story because the truth will come out later. It doesn't matter what politician it is. Whenever I am called upon to put my faith in somebody who's lying to me, makes me scratch my head because I'm a reasonable man. And I don't care if you like it or you don't like it. I don't care if you stay subscribed. I don't care if you take your hat and leave because a number of you have said, that's it, man, I'm unsubscribing. I'm never watching you again. If the truth bothers you that much, leave. Don't let the door hit you in the backside on the way out. And the door remains open. You can come back. I won't block you. I won't leave you. But I'm always just going to tell you exactly what I see. And not a bit more. Because there are people who think I don't go far enough. There's a lot of things I know. There's a lot of things I think. But I don't tend to pass judgment harshly until I know for sure about a thing. And now I know about Trump. Now I know that he's covering for one of the worst, most reprehensible things that's ever happened on American soil. And there's no gray area. And if you can't see that, then I guess this channel is not for you. Please feel free to leave. For the rest of you who want to stay, I hope you choose to remain to stay in spite of the fact that I'll probably say something that will grind your gears as well. And if you just want me to keep shooting straight, please support it via the website. I'm not monetized. I keep getting it. Man, that's another one. It's another one. I get accused of rage baiting, clickbaiting constantly, or I'm being paid. I'm being paid by the Jews. And then at the same day, I'm being accused of being paid by the Jews. I'm getting accused of being paid by Iran, that I must be on the payroll of these terrorist groups. I don't know how I managed to piss all of these people off at the exact same time. Is that how damaging the truth is to everybody equally? Is that something that's common among all the different splinter groups? Is none of them can be honest with each other? Is truth, or the pursuit of truth, because I don't pretend to be the absolute arbiter of what is true, is the pursuit of truth really that rare? It certainly seems that way. But this idea that I'm rage baiting or clickbaiting or I'm, just fishing for likes, I'm not monetized. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm fighting the algorithm every single day because I refuse to play the game by the standard rules. I'm completely dependent on you folks to keep going. And if for whatever reason it dries up, every single subscriber leaves and every single follower flees, then in a sense, I'm free to just live my life again. Because I'll tell you, this stuff is heavy. That's why Atlas opens every single video carrying the world on his shoulders, because that's exactly how it feels. I'm Frank Vaughn, and as long as you're watching, I'll see you in the next one.